What up, world? This is AJ Johnson once again with 4th and 20 Sports, and I am here again with another teaser video for you. We are getting closer and closer to that actual live podcast date. We're so excited that we are still bringing you these teaser videos. I hope you guys are cheesy enough to really want the podcast, because until then, this is what you're going to get. But I promise you, once you get the full podcast, you will be nothing but thrilled. But until then, we are just going to bring you these teaser videos as long as sports are relevant. And trust me, tonight, they are relevant. We are talking Final Four. The reason March exists. March Madness. And as you know, it is madness. And you would know if you saw last night's game against UConn and Mississippi State, as Mississippi State shocked the world, and they ended UConn's 111-game win streak with a buzzer beater in overtime. It was a great game. The women's tournament has actually been quite wonderful. If you haven't watched any of it, kind of missing out. You should definitely check in that game when Mississippi State goes against South Carolina. But today we are talking men, where that South Carolina also has a chance to shock the world and head to their first Final Four. But first, tonight they have to go up against Gonzaga, and it's going to be a tough battle. Tonight's going to be a brawl, guys. Two very highly defensive teams. USC very good on the perimeter defense. Gonzaga, that down low present with that big boy Karnowski down there. It's going to be a battle, man, and I'm excited about it. South Carolina's coming to play. I mean, they've already gotten this far, shocking everybody. No, if you put South Carolina in your Final Four, first off, what the hell do you know about basketball? And secondly, congratulations, I guess. But hey, they got out here on the backs of defense, and that's what they're going to do tonight. They're going to play really good defense. You know, they're ranked 5th nationally at creating turnovers, and they've been doing that at 17.2 turnovers per game over the season. That's ridiculous. They specialize in the half court press, and I think that's going to be a little factor tonight. They're going to be very disruptive in the pass lanes. They're going to be disruptive against the ball, and they're going to do what they've been doing all tournament, where they've created turnovers on 23% of possessions during the tournament. That's crazy too. Can you imagine that? 23% of possessions. That's a team's quarter where they're not having a chance to score the ball. How do you match that? And not only are they creating turnovers, they are also creating points off of turnovers. 18.1 points per game off of turnovers. That's crazy. And you've seen how Gonzaga deals with that. West Virginia scored 24 points off of 16 turnovers against Gonzaga, and that game came down to the wire. So if the Gamecocks can match that type of intensity and bring it to Gonzaga that way, Gonzaga's going to have to play one of their best games of the year, and then hope to have enough to still play in the Nationals if they win tonight. Another real uncanny part about this defense from South Carolina is not only do they create turnovers, not only are they disruptive, not only are they in your face, they can do it without fouling, but they do it while making you foul on the offensive side. You saw it against Duke and Jason Tatum in early foul trouble. You saw it against Florida, where they put both Kevon Allen and Chris Chiozza out early in the game in foul trouble. You know, if they're taking Williams-Goss off the floor because of foul trouble, they're taking Williams off the floor, they're taking their shooter Matthews off the floor. Now the game has to come strictly post game, where Karnowski excels at. But if the focus is in one place, a defensive unit like this has a really good chance of slowing it down. Now, as much as I've sounded gung-ho about South Carolina, I don't think they're going to have enough to take it tonight. I do think their run ends tonight against Gonzaga, and that's for two reasons. One, you haven't heard me saying anything about offense, and that's because South Carolina's offense is not something that is going to be a threat. Granted, they have been scoring much better in the postseason at about 80 points a game, I think it is, somewhere in there, where they average about 68 to 73 in the regular season. But outside of Sindarius Thornwell and that boy Notice doing just that and putting you on notice, they're not going to have an offensive prowess that's going to really threaten anybody, especially Gonzaga, who is actually a better defensive team than South Carolina. Now, they may not create turnovers at the rate that South Carolina does, but they play really good team defense. And I know I've said that about a lot of teams over this postseason, but it's right there on paper and it's right there in the pudding. They haven't let a team score their season average in this tournament. Not to mention, they made teams like Northwestern and Xavier have their worst half of the year, with Northwestern only putting with 20.5. That's some pretty good defense. That's really holding it down. And Gonzaga knows how to put down these grimy, battle it out, low scoring type of games. They don't have to score to beat you. They can stop you from scoring and score enough just to finish, as you saw with West Virginia, one of their hardest games of the postseason, the one they found to win. I do think they're going to have a great offensiveness tonight, especially if that focus does become down in the low. Karnowski's nothing to play with, man. This is a big body center who knows the game. He's very intelligent in the post. He has great footwork, knows how to get around a defender to put that hook shot up or put that layup in. But one of his most commendable talents from the post is the way he passes out of the post. He's really good at finding these shooters on the perimeter. And if you get them the chance to shoot at you from like they do from a 50% strike or whatnot, that's going to be really hard to overcome for South Carolina, which I think will be the problem. Now, once again, I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a battle, and I think Gonzaga's going to pull it out. I look forward to be something like maybe 68-62. Gonzaga heading to their first national championship after heading their first Final Four, and they're going to be looking to play one of these teams: North Carolina Tar Heels versus the Oregon Ducks. Man, if this game is anywhere near what we expect, I am so glad that it's last, because, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at star power. The high-scoring offense of the UNC team versus these high-scoring guards of the Oregon Ducks. This is going to be a hard one to call. I mean, you got Tyler Dorsey here. Mr. March has been phenomenal. Still dropping 20-plus points a game. About 8 games in a row now, not falling short of it during the tournament, stepping up when his team needs it the most. And it's not just the 20-plus points a game. It's where the 25-point and the 27-point happens at the biggest moments of the game, the clutch moments of the game. He's not afraid to take the big shots, and he's been known to make the big shots. I think this offense has been prolific, especially Tyler Dorsey. Dylan Brooks is always going to play night in, night out. We already knew that was coming, and I think they look to do that again. Now, if they're missing shots, I'll tell you the Tar Heels can rebound with the best of them because they are the best rebounding team in the nation. That boy, Kennedy Meeks, has been rebounding at a ridiculous rate, and Isaiah Hicks has been doing all he can to help him out. But tonight, they have their hands full. Mr. Chris Boucher's replacement, Jordan Bell, has been the force to reckon with in the paint this tournament. He's averaging 12 rebounds a game. That's something that can go head-to-head with Kennedy Meeks. He's averaging 3.5 blocks a game, not to mention the 80 out on Kansas to put them in the position that they are now. If Roy Williams is smart, he's going to look to get him in foul trouble early. I think if you put the Isaiah Hicks down there and you put Kennedy Meeks along with I cannot remember the third man's name, but if you put those 3 boys down there and give Jordan time trying to defend all 3 of them, he's going to end up in early foul trouble, and that'll allow the bigs to dominate down low in the game. Joe Barry looks to get back. Joe Barry looks to get back in this game. As you heard, he had the messed up ankle, which we later found out was actually 2 sprained ankles. But he's looking at an 85% go tonight. He's looking like he's going to be good. We'll see in the game if he can slash, if he can get to the rim and put those floaters up like he does. It's going to be a lot of problems for Oregon. But if he's just looking to be a distributor and get Justin Jackson going, that can work. That man's a prolific scorer. He's the ACC Player of the Year. He's not going to drop a goose egg when it matters the most, but they're going to need a little bit more than that. But I do. Like I said, this is a hard one to call. I don't know where I want to go with it, man. Because if it gets away from the Ducks, I see UNC holding on. I don't think they'll let a comeback happen. But if it's one of those back and forth games and Oregon stays in it, and it comes down to the final possession type of game, UNC better hope that they have the ball for the final possession, because these men, Tyler Dorsey, Dylan Brooks, and even Dylan Ennis, they can hit that big shot and they can send UNC home, upsetting where they want their revenge game at the national. I mean, because I picked UNC, I'm going to stick with it. I think I have UNC winning this game tonight, 85-80 maybe. It can go either way, man. March Madness. It's madness. That's what it's supposed to be. It's so hard to pick against Oregon right now, the way they've been playing, the way they've been so high at it. Either one of these teams will give us a good national championship against what I do think to be Gonzaga. But even if South Carolina gets in, good basketball is what we came for. And it's the end of March. It's April time. And let's show up. Let's see who's the fool tonight. And let's see who's going to be a national champion on Monday. I have been AJ Johnson from 4th to 20 Sports. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead on the Facebook. While you're at it, go ahead and hop over to Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Again, we're coming with that podcast very, very soon. Until then, be easy. And 4th and 20 going on.